Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, June 2nd, 2020. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. The National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, is in a state of readiness for any emergencies which may occur in this hurricane season. So says Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves in an address to the nation at the start of the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season on Monday, June 1st. Experts have predicted that the season is expected to be above normal. Prime Minister Gonsalves said the hurricane season is not the only challenge which the country faces at this time, also the threat of COVID-19. The Prime Minister said the various committees which falls under NEMO's jurisdiction have been doing their work to prepare for the hurricane season while combating COVID-19.
So persons entering the shelters will need to wear face masks at all times while you're at the shelter. And we're trying to get more and more masks that persons can wear. But they're easily purchased. You can buy them anywhere around town. They're not too expensive. Inside of the shelter, families will stay in specified areas which are designated to maintain the necessary physical distancing from others within the shelter. Persons are encouraged to go to the shelter within their community. Of course, there are some communities that you actually don't have a designated shelter. It is advisable that when you go inside, when you enter in there, you try and walk with your supplies to last for up to 3 days.
Dr. Gonsalves said the annual shelter inspection exercise has been completed with the list of emergency shelters to be published soon. He said due to the COVID-19 pandemic, new safety measures were introduced at the shelters.
And we have already seen 2 named storms. The season hasn't actually started yet, but nature is not waiting on us. Tropical storms Arthur and Bertha off the coast of the Carolinas in the United States. If this is an early indication of what our forecasters have predicted for an active season, I want to encourage all Vincentians to take very seriously your preparations for this hurricane season. It can make the difference between life and death in your preparation. It can mean extreme loss of property or not so great a loss of property, depending on the extent of your preparation.
The Prime Minister said work has also been done at the local Met Office to boost its capacity.
The local Met Office continues to work with the Barbados Met Services to provide timely and accurate weather forecasts. And we are building capacity in terms of personnel and equipment. I don't need to go through all of that, but just to assure you that we are doing that. Family preparation. The district committees, which is the base for NEMO, and DGCEL, we have VINLEC and CWSA always performing very well. But all the ministries, and I want all the permanent secretaries and heads of departments to know that in whichever ministry you are, you have to be addressing these things.
And the Prime Minister made a special appeal to fishermen who are likely to be affected by rough seas whenever there is a storm or a hurricane. In his address for the start of the hurricane season, the Prime Minister appealed to fishermen to comply with the advisories given to them, noting that failing to do so could endanger their lives.
Hurricane season, as you are usually among the first to be impacted by the approaching weather systems at sea. Too many times we hear of fishing vessels being damaged and persons missing during the hurricane season. I know what you say among yourselves, that Christ chose fishermen and fishermen are blessed. But the Lord helps those who help who help themselves. And you can't take chances with the agencies. You know that better than I do. So I want you to listen to the advisories. Don't listen to noise elsewhere. Listen to people in authority who are giving you correct information.
Further, the Prime Minister stated that fishermen should safely secure their boats and gears to ensure their livelihood is sustained after a storm or hurricane.
Do not venture from the shore. Please, fishermen, do not venture from the shore once the precautions have been given by the Met Services. I urge you always to secure safely your fishing vessels, your gear and other equipment, as the storm surges which come from these weather systems can damage your property, can damage your boat, your gear, your equipment, or destroy them. And remember this: when you allow your boats or your engines or your gear to be lost or to be damaged or destroyed, there's a problem after the storm. We still want the fish to eat. It's important for fish security. So you're going to need to feed your family.
There are approximately 16 named storms, 8 hurricanes, 4 of which could be major this season. Chief Executive Officer of the Central Water and Sewage Authority, Garth Saunders, is encouraging customers to store up water at home to be used in the absence of pipe-borne water given the ongoing drought conditions. Water rationing measures have been implemented by the company, which says it is operating at 35 to 40% capacity at its 5 major supply systems due to lack of rainfall. On Friday, the company announced that it has now been forced to implement further water restriction measures, which, if found in breach, customers can have their water disconnected. Speaking on the Issues at Hand program on WeFM on Sunday, Saunders said that it is very important for each household to install water storage facilities.
But as I said before, it is likely that every year we're going to be impacted with a water shortage at some point, based on the climate change, based on the frequency of droughts, and based on the frequency of flood events and heavy rainfall events. So we want to encourage, and I'm sure that's why that's where you wanted to go, Mr. Weeks, that we want to encourage persons to install storage capacity at their homes. And the calculation is a simple one, between 20 and 30 gallons per person per day. So if you are considering what size you would need, you check your household and you use that simple formula, 20 to 30 gallons per person per day. And that would help you to establish a proper system in your homes.
There are suggestions that if the CWSA had more water storage facilities in place, the current problem of water shortage will not be. But according to the CWSA CEO, the situation is more complex than this.
The CWSA has, over the last 12 years or so, since the Windward Water Supply Project, as you know, the Jennings project, where we invested $23 million in that project, we have, unknown to many, invested a further $24 million in plant, equipment, pipeline, and water storage improvements. And the question addressed the issue of additional storage. Well, we have increased our storage capacity, our island-wide storage capacity, from 3.6 million gallons in 2006 to 5.4 million gallons at present. We built storage tanks, 250,000 gallon storage tank at Rose Hall, a 500,000 gallon storage tank at Bella Hill, a 250,000 gallon storage tank at Leyu.
Saunders said that lack of rainfall made several small islands in the Caribbean rethink their water supply sources, and the CWSA plans to reduce reliance on rainfall and surface water and introduce other water sources.
We will have to try to continue at CWSA to reduce our reliance on rainfall and surface water, and to also introduce some groundwater and some desalination systems as alternative sources of water. That is going to be required going forward, because we have to reduce our vulnerability to this climate change. And we have already started by rerouting our pipelines out of rivers. We've reduced river crossings, etc. We have also established within the CWSA in the year 2009 a water resources unit that measures the water resource inventory in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we have also invested significantly in water storage.
Grade 5 students across the country are expected to return to their classrooms tomorrow, Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020. According to the Ministry of Education, this comes as a response to the overwhelming request of stakeholders for more student engagement, noting that all established protocols are expected to be observed. The ministry, however, noted that for some schools, their grade 5 students will continue online engagement for the rest of the term, as these schools cannot adequately accommodate them at this time. These schools are Lodge Village Government, Kingston Anglican, CW Prescott Primary, Kingston Prep, Fitzhughes Government, Barley Government, St. Mary's Roman Catholic, Lower Bay Primary, Beckwith 7-Day Adventist, and Leeward 7-Day Adventist. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Mikhail Burke, thank all principals, teachers, parents, and other stakeholders for their input and cooperation in facilitating the smooth reopening of school for examinations. The ministry further advised that all schools will be closed on July 3rd, 2020, as stated on the official school's calendar. All grade 6, Form 5, and TVET students preparing for regional exams returned to school last Monday, May 25th. And the SVG Teachers Union is questioning why the rush to have grade 5 students return to their classroom when initially the Ministry of Education said schools will be reopened to accommodate only the students who will be sitting regional exams. The SVG-TU president says that while they are not intervening in the matter, they are disappointed that the union was never consulted, which would mean that there is a breach in the collective bargaining agreement.
Our collective agreement, our correspondence that would go to school must be sent to the teachers union. That's what we signed with the government. But I don't know how they agree with the principals that some schools will go back and have not written to the union to inform the teachers union, because we are an important stakeholder in education, and we represent the teachers and even the principals themselves. When these correspondence are circulated, sometimes they will end up in our possession through social media. As a matter of courtesy, you should inform your stakeholder that this is, even though we agree or not, you understand? As a matter of courtesy, you're supposed to say to us, well, these schools are going back.
The Ministry of Education was in discussion with the union on the phased reopening of schools, but according to Robinson, they never got an official correspondence as to how the phased reopening will take place.
My question is, what is the purpose of sending back grade 5 students now, when the emphasis is on preparing grade 6 for exam? There are teachers who have to teach grade 5 and grade 6, and now the classes are spread out. I know of a teacher who have to teach 29 to 30 periods per week, and the ILO speak about this too. Overwork, forced labor. That is what it could boil down to. We have to watch it very carefully. Some people want to push our teachers as if they are robots. And when you speak now, people want to label you. They say, oh, you're political, or you are obstructionist. The union is not obstructing anything. We're just looking out for the health, safety of our teachers and our children.
The SVG-TU president says it is important that teachers and students follow the protocols in place, and should they encounter difficulties, they should not be afraid to seek help.
Well, we continue to monitor what's happening. If the teachers are okay with that, that's fine. We're not interfering with anything. If anything happens now, then everybody will remember you have a union. All we are doing, we are raising the concerns and we're exercising caution, and we are asking our teachers to be safe and to do everything in the power to remain safe and to remain healthy, whether they are at school or wherever they are. And if at any time, so if they feel that if they are not comfortable at the workplace, then they know what they must do. And whatever happens, then they must inform their supervisor, the ministry or their principals, because our teachers have been doing their best. Well, the majority of them.
A candlelight vigil was held last evening in Union Island for the 3 persons who lost their lives as a result of the gas station fire on Tuesday, May 19, 2020. The vigil, which drew a large crowd, started at Ashton Cross Road and ended at the burnt-out gas station site at Clifton Flat, where candles were lit and persons sang and paid tributes to the 3 victims, namely the gas station owner, 72-year-old Freddie North, 12-year-old Indani Neverson, and 17-year-old Shaniqua Azaria Alexander. Those paying tribute said the victims will be remembered for a long time, noting that they have made contributions in their own way on Union Island.
It's emotional for me right now, you know, because my cousin is there, Zara, my loving cousin too, you know. And me and Freddie goes very well. We used to go well. Well, he gone now, and Lindani, actually, I know Lindani quite a while, coming on the park. Used to give me a little coaching with football. I know it's sad, it's a sad moment.
Tonight, we are here because we lost him, but his memory was still in us. School wouldn't be the same. I don't think party would be the same without him. At Fremont, that class was a kind of class that they team up to make trouble, and they hold one hand when they made trouble, and you couldn't break them, but together they found solution to things. So together we would like to say, creating me a clean heart, oh Lord. So together
we would have lost 3 stars on Union Island. Zara was a star in her own way. She was a star on the track. She represented Union Island on the whole, going to St. Vincent for the inter-primary. Lindani was a star in his own way. He was a star on the stage. I think he was one of the most fearless youths growing up. All right, because we would have known when we have all the independence rallies and so on, he would have been one of the main performers there, dancing and all these things. All right, and Freddie, in his own way, would have been a star as well. All right?
The police are investigating a suspected drowning in Canawan on Sunday. Dead is 23-year-old Leonard John of Fancy. According to reports, John, accompanied by a relative, went fishing along the Pink Sand Beach area around 5:30 a.m. on Sunday. He reportedly was knocked off the rock by a wave and fell into the rough sea. After he did not surface, an alarm was raised and a search was mounted by the SVG Coast Guard and residents. His body was retrieved hours later. A post-mortem examination is expected to be conducted on the body to ascertain the cause of death. And on a brighter note now, we hear that Emmeline Mameline Nash Barber, formerly of Spring Village, now residing in New York, celebrated her 100th birthday on Sunday. She was born on May 31st, 1920 to Delcina Nash and Enoch Morris. Barber and her husband of 65 years, Thomas, currently reside in Queens, New York with their youngest daughter, Jana. According to her family, Barber has lived to see 4 generations of her lineage, which includes 10 children, 46 grandchildren, 62 great-grandchildren, and 12 great-great-grandchildren. As she begins her 100th year of life, Mamalyn, as she is affectionately called by her family, is said to still be active, vibrant, quick-wit, and mentally sharp. Her family said they are happy to be able to celebrate this remarkable milestone with Mamalyn and wish her many more happy and healthy years to come.